Marvel Comics investing versus sports cards investing. What is the difference? What is my preference? Well, it's pretty obvious, but today in this video, I'm going to walk you through how I think about this hobby, whether it's an investment and whether there's a specific method or vehicle that is better than others. But today we're going to explore that topic because I think that with Gary Vee paving the way and talking about sports cards investing and people like Logan Paul spending silly money buying up Pokemon cards, I want to be able to walk you guys through to how I spend money on comics that has significantly appreciated over the years. And this is not something I talk about, but I think that this has been my passion for ever since I was a kid. And I want to walk you through how this is a really big opportunity if you know what it is that you're doing. If you're somebody that's into collectibles, then this video would probably be one of the most important videos that you'll watch. Okay, so when it comes to investing in things like cards or comics or collectibles, my first principle, my first rule is this. It would be betting and speculating and investing in something or somebody that's unknown. And the reason for that is because that is where you have the highest room and the highest margins of potential profits because the price hasn't been inflated yet, the hype isn't there, the public isn't all over it, and that is the time to go in, when the world does not know about this person or character just yet. And this would be the first differentiator. And the first differentiator between comics and sports cards is that I can't do that to a certain extent for sports cards. Here's what I mean. So in terms of predictability, which is number one, what I can do when it comes to comics is I can take a look at Marvel or Disney, which is brought over Marvel, in terms of their direction by looking at the movies they have lined up, as well as the series they have that's lined up on Disney+. You can see that Disney is making some big moves, wanting to compete with Netflix. And for that reason, they are putting in big money marketing these series, making sure it's really good. I don't know if you guys have watched WandaVision, hands down one of the best series I've seen. And because I know the characters that Marvel is placing their money on, I know exactly how I can follow suit by strategically riding on the characters Marvel is about to market. Let's take this comic for example. Okay, I brought a couple of examples here today, and this is the first appearance of Shang-Chi. Now Shang-Chi, where the movie is getting released later this year, if you take a look at the game plan for Marvel as well as Disney, what are you trying to do? Well, first of all, the reason why they're releasing this movie based on the Chinese superheroes, chances are probably because they want to tap into a specific demographic, to appeal to the demographic, which is basically the Asian community or the Chinese community. So that is their play, to tap into the Asian market. So if you take a look at what they're doing, they are releasing a lot of different movies and superheroes. That they're coming out with the first, they're marketing their first gay superhero, they're targeting their first, releasing their first movie on a Muslim superhero, which is Kamala Khan. And the reason for this is because they want to be able to appeal to these different demographics. Now, what does this mean? It means that chances are, if you went in on this comic before the world knows about who this person is. Now, and there are a few waves to this, right? The first wave would be the people who are the absolute nerds like myself, who would do the research. We are on Reddit, we're reading the comics, and we know roughly where the direction this will be headed. I wouldn't consider myself like a hardcore nerd compared to those who really know their stuff. I'm maybe like, you know, a little bit less than that, right? But those will be the first wave of people that absolutely know exactly where that direction is headed. And then there would be a second wave, which is when Marvel confirms it with a trailer. So this is like the next level, okay? So when Marvel releases a trailer or some sort of announcement that this is the next Disney Plus series that we're making, this is the next movie that's upcoming, that is like the next wave of information where people will be in the know. And the third wave where prices really spike is when the rest of the world sees the movie, right? So the problem between sports collectibles versus comics is that I can't do that with sports collectibles. With sports collectibles, there isn't this specific trend. Yeah, I could wager on a specific player that I think is going to do well. But the problem is this, even if there's a rookie right now that I feel there's a lot of potential, this rookie could be great today, but this person could tear their ACL, this person hurt their back doing a deadlift. Superman can't get a concussion. Well, he can, but you know what I'm saying, where I'm going with this, right? Where else somebody in the NBA, somebody who's in a sports cards, who's a rookie right now, that could be doing really well, that value might not be able to sustain or preserve itself. Why? Because you just don't know what's going to happen with that player. Or else for this comic or this superhero, when Marvel releases the movie, the only thing that could work against you is if the movie absolutely bombs. Okay, now is that possible? Sure, but if you take a look at Marvel's track record, they've been pretty solid ever since 2008 Iron Man. If you watch any of Marvel's movies, especially now that they've got an even bigger budget backed up by Disney, I would say that their track record is 100%. Like every movie has not disappointed. So what does this mean, right? My method of investing in comics. Now again, guys, you know, if you're watching this channel, you've heard me talk about like investing in like the good old stocks and real estate, and I've created videos like that. I've talked about, you know, I put most of my money on ads because that's the highest return for me. And this will be in the category of just, you know, not really an investment, but it kind of is just doing something that you love while getting appreciation on this asset at the same time, right? So how I look at this is that the reason why it appreciates over time is because I like looking at the history. And if you take a look at prices of collectibles and sports cards and comics, comics are usually the last to go up because this trend is usually led by sports collectibles first. Now you can see that because sports collectibles has exploded in recent years because of people like Gary Vee, this thing right now is still relatively niche and unknown, and only the people that's really into it are comic collectors. Okay, and most people don't look at this as an investment, but one of the things that has helped me tremendously is just investing in comics where the characters are not known yet. Okay, so that's number one, predictability. I know that, for example, this next comic over here, this is a comic that is rated 9.8 for Eternals #1. Now this comic here is not as rare as this thing right here. You can see it's blue labeled, meaning this is just like an ordinary edition, 9.8. This is about $2,000 in market value right now. Or else a signed one, a normal one for Shang-Chi, has about 1,000 of them in circulation. There's a site, there are many sites in fact that shows you how many there are in the market. But because it's signed, there's only 5 of them. And if you follow this channel, I bought this comic a while back. It was about $7,000. But the reason why there's a lot of room for appreciation is because chances are, if you are not a comic nerd and if you don't follow Marvel, chances are most of the time people will not know of this movie until the trailer comes out or until the movie comes out. So one way to get an unfair advantage is to be able to invest in the comics based on the movies that or series, right, that Marvel as well as Disney is coming up with. And you've watched my other videos, you've noticed that I have been buying the characters that I feel is going to come on these series. So for example, WandaVision, all of the different characters, if I feel that they're going to appear on set, before they even appear on set, I'll be buying up these comics. Now, of course, this would require you to do your due diligence. And if you're somebody that's a fan, it's going to be easy for you because it's going to be based on something that you enjoy doing anyway. So it's not really work. So that's the first differentiator, right? Between how I think about comics as well as card collectibles, which is number one, predictability. When it comes to comics, I will be able to put my money on a D-grade character that the world has not known yet, does not know yet. Where else in the NBA or in the sports world, I can't really do that. Which brings me to my second point. My second point, I kind of mentioned it earlier, is that when it comes to the biggest range or margins to make money, that is when in the comics world, you want to be able to speculate on an unknown, right? Where else in the world of sports collectibles, if I were to speculate on an unknown, the odds of this unknown becoming a superstar is extremely low, and I can't consistently make that prediction. And even if I do make that prediction, again, guess what? This player could have its glory days for like 3 years, and this person could be out. And not every player is going to live on being a Michael Jordan at legendary level, right? Or else, with comics, I can make a very calculated risk based on who I think Marvel is going to make the next big thing. And number 3 would be this, right? Number 3 is obviously my own personal biased reason of just liking comics and the superhero world a lot more than sports. I've never really played sports much my whole life, and to me, being that inner geek and nerd makes me like this hobby a whole lot more. And I also like the fact that it's this, to me, it's like art. I can actually display this, look at it, and it's something that appreciates tremendously over time. Whereas for cards, I always feel like it's really hard to display them. It's like small, and I gotta fill up an entire wall. I collect Marvel cards, not so much sports collectibles. But that's another third reason why I really like this. In fact, I feel that this game is something that anybody can go into, because you don't need to be investing in the 9.8s. One thing about 9.8s is that you're probably thinking, why is it not 10? Well, in most cases, 10s for comics don't exist, because the moment there's a tiny flaw, it's straight away a 9.8. Okay, so most markets, most comics in the market, the best one available is 9.8. And this is really scalable based on your budget and your appetite for risk. Because the difference between a 9.8 and a 9.0 can be about 10 times the difference. In some cases, even 20. Okay, so it can be the world of difference, because sometimes if the way you think about it is kind of like this. In most cases, why do I only collect 9.8s? It is because if somebody really likes the movie, for example, let's say a billionaire, let's say Jack Ma, for some reason, of Alibaba, watches this movie and says, hey, you know what? This is amazing. I want to be able to get the first appearance on Shang-Chi, and Jack tells his PA, here's a blank check. I don't care how you do it, just get it done, get me a 9.8. Guess what? Price to a billionaire is not an issue, right? Or it could be a Hollywood superstar, a celebrity, whatever, right? And their mindset and mentality is, I just want the best, I don't care what the price is. And if that's the target market that you want to go for, then it's definitely worth investing in 9.8s, even though it could be 10 times more and a much higher risk, because the swing can be a big difference. But how can you safeguard this? The way you safeguard this is by putting your money on the D-grade characters. So it's really important to not to be tempted by already investing in the players or the heroes that has already made it big. And for that reason, that's why I'm not buying Superman, I'm not buying Batman's first appearance, I'm not buying Iron Man first appearance. Why? Because the prices has already spiked, because the world already knows who they are. Okay. However, if you take a look, it's kind of like if you watch Guardians of the Galaxy. If you bought the comics before the movie came out, you would have made at least 10 times your investment if you did so. Okay. And again, this kind of brings me back to my first point of why I like this game a whole lot better, because of the predictability. I can literally just ride and leverage on Marvel as well as Disney's marketing efforts and just follow what they are about to do based on who are the characters they are marketing. So that's behind the scenes to me investing in comics. If you have liked this journey, be sure to, first of all, let me know in the comments below which character do you think is going to blow up and what type of comics do you think I should be getting. And as always, if you like this kind of topic, I know it's very different from our usual marketing, social media topic, but this is something that's always been an interest of mine for a really long time. So smash the like button if you found this helpful or useful, and be sure to subscribe to this channel for more videos just like this one.